Boris Johnson there. Well, let's talk to Jess Sargeant, senior researcher for the Brexit team at the Institute for Government, a non-partisan think tank. Thanks so much for joining us, Jess. So yesterday it was agri-foods. Today we're talking about a grace period for parcels. The Prime Minister is saying this is a technical situation. The EU is saying it's illegal. Who's right?
So what we've seen the UK government do today is, as you mentioned, extend those two grace periods for agri-food and parcels. Now, this is a continuation of a UK-EU agreement back in December that was reached through the Joint Committee. So it was agreed that there would be a grace period to delay the implementation of EU law in those areas until April. Now, I think from the EU position, it was expected that if there was to be a further delay, that would also be with agreement with the EU through the Joint Committee. But what we've seen actually is the UK go ahead and do this unilaterally, which is why we've seen such strong pushback from the EU and also the Irish government.
So talk us through, it obviously needs to be resolved. What kind of compromise do we need to see here?
I think fundamentally discussions are going to have to take place again in the Joint Committee. I think it is quite clear that if these full checks and controls were introduced from April, we'd see some fairly major disruption in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland businesses have been very clear that they are not ready to comply with these new requirements. And we've also seen, because of some of the political tensions, the GUP agricultural minister halt preparations for the facilities to conduct some of these agri-food checks. So I think implementing those checks in April is not feasible, which is why the UK government argues that it's needed to take this action. However, unilateral action is unlikely to be sustainable. The EU has already threatened to take legal action against the UK for what it sees as a breach of the protocol. And we also saw today the European Parliament delay their vote on the ratification of the future relationship deal, which could also cause problems later down the line. So there is the need for the UK and the EU to ramp up discussions once again in the Joint Committee and try and find a solution this time that is agreed between both parties, not instituted unilaterally by one side.
OK, so when it comes to the potential legal action that the EU can take, realistically, what are we talking about?
It's not clear exactly on what basis the EU would take legal action. There are a couple of mechanisms under the withdrawal agreement that it could use. It could use some of the dispute resolution mechanisms that are there, which would be some kind of form of arbitration panel. But actually, under the protocol, because Northern Ireland is required to apply EU law, the European Court of Justice also has jurisdiction. So what we could see is the EU launch what's known as infringement proceedings, and the UK could end up before the European Court of Justice. Now, I think it's worth saying that any form of legal action could take a very long time. And actually, the UK is only proposing to extend this grace period until October. So in reality, by the time the legal action had got to court, the UK may have remedied the situation. So really, I think in this circumstance, it's a political solution that's required, because as we know, the protocol is still highly contentious within Northern Ireland, and kind of further disruption and distrust between the UK and the EU could in fact worsen that situation.
Thank you so much for talking us through all of that. A lot to get through, but thank you, Jess Sargeant from the Institute for Government. Really good to get your thoughts and insight as well. Thank you.